We will now connect you to your call. Please say your name.
Matt McCray.
Matt McCray. Morning, Matt.
Morning, Matt.
Good morning, Alan. Good morning, Lee. How is everybody?
Great.
Awesome. Did you guys have a good weekend?
Sandra, listen.
Hey, good morning, Sandra.
Hey, Sandra.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Alan, what time do you have? I'm not sitting near my clock.
11:02.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Good morning, everybody. Lee, if you want to go ahead and hit the recording and mute everybody out.
Conference recording started.
Good morning, everybody. I am Matt McCray with Chelsea Insurance Group. It is Monday, May 8th, 2017. Thank you for calling in or joining us on our Facebook, YouTube live stream, Periscope as well. We appreciate everybody's time this morning on a Monday morning. Just wanted to kick this. Last week we talked about introducing Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantages. Just want to let everybody know our contracting is still in process. So as soon as we have the finalization of our contract agent numbers, we'll roll those out to everybody just to give everybody an update on where we stand there. I also wanted to touch base on last week's sales. You know, we started off May very strong last week. I have a hard time believing that we're going to beat last week's sales this week, but I hope we do. Miracles are happening every day, and I'd like to continue to see them happening here at Chelsea Insurance Group. So let's talk a little bit about last week. Last week's average annualized premium, based on all the business that we did, we take that and we divide it by the number of policies that were sold. We did $860.78 for an average annualized premium. That's $71.73. So, the only thing I can attribute this to is because every week we're doing these calls, we continue to talk about the Social Security form that shows, when you're sitting down with your client. If you guys, I just got to believe that you guys are starting to use that form, because every week our average premium is creeping up. So we're going to focus on the average annualized premium. We're going to make that kind of a number that we look for with all of our agents, see what you're doing. So for those of you that are familiar with the app that we have, or the My Leads One system, where you receive your leads and we track all of your sales, in there, if you go to the My Sales tab and you look at the very top in the section that's called My Sales, you'll be able to start tracking what your average annual premium is. And if you're at 860.78 or lower, just know that that's what our average is for last week. Now, when that number calculates on your screen, that's going to be an all-time average. That's the only way we could get it to calculate in the system for you to be able to see. So it calculates just like PPL. It's going to take the total annualized premium that you've submitted through the system, and it's going to divide it by the total number of applications that you've submitted through the system. So you want to just continually to gradually get that higher. The higher it is, the more money you're making, the more sales that you're doing. So start looking out for that in the system. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, and I've noticed a lot of agents are doing it, and I even put a little yellow bar in there, a message at the top of it, just to remind you and let you know that you can upload your picture into that app as well. That way, we here at the home office, we can see we didn't get a chance to go out and meet everybody face to face. You guys see my face all the time. And I have a feeling here in a little bit, if Alan wants to talk, you'll get to see his face too. So if you're watching the video, you'll get to see Alan and myself. But for the rest of you, we'd like to see you. We'd like to know who you are. We talk to you guys an awful lot, girls, an awful lot on the phone. But if you upload that picture, we can see again. So just when you're in that My Sales section, just go ahead and click on the Add My Picture, and that'll get rid of that generic image that you're seeing in there now, and it'll replace it with a picture of yourself. And that way, if you have a downline with us as well, when you're looking through there at your assignment details, you'll be able to see all of their pictures as well too. So let's go ahead and get into the meat of the call today. In this week's call, we wanted to talk about what you can do to help increase your sales. There's two different selling types when it comes to final expense. A couple weeks ago, we went through the presentation binder. And we had an awful lot of people download, and then an awful lot of people go ahead and purchase our final expense presentation binder. So a lot of you are using that binder, whether you downloaded it and printed it yourself, or whether we put one together and shipped it out to you. So a lot of agents are utilizing that, and our sales are going up, so it's working. But we also understand that there's certain situations and there's certain specific agents who just like to have a conversation, a conversational selling approach. So what we've done is we've come up with a series, we've broken it down into 10 sections, 10 different formats of questions, and each of these 10 different sections has, one or two, maybe 3 questions in it. And I'm just going to go through this sheet that I created with you guys, and this sheet will be available on our website. It's not on there yet. It's in a Word document now. I'm going to convert it over later today to a PDF, and I'll get it uploaded to the website, and later in my email that goes out with the replay of today's webinar, I'll include it in that email as well. But this is just a basic guide that you can use when you're doing your presentation. And you can actually use this guide even if you are using the binder. It's not just for the people who want to have conversation. These are great questions that's going to help you learn more about your client. It's going to help your client get a better understanding of what things why it's important to get this type of insurance. So question 1 or section 1 has a couple of different questions. Here they go. Have you ever had to pay for or help arrange someone's funeral or burial? And then what was it like? Did you experience any financial problems? So that's the first question. Really, have you ever had to pay for or help arrange someone's funeral or burial? Great leading question. Great question while you're sitting down with your prospect to start talking about burial insurance and final expense. Question 2.
Matt, I'm sorry, Matt, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to jump in here. I can't tell you how important that question is, because it starts building the emotion. We're dealing in the senior market. We already know the answer to that. We already know that they planned either their parents' funeral or a relative, help out with a friend, and God forbid, a child. So we're building that emotion, and this is an emotional sale. So I just wanted to jump in there to say how important that question is. So go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
No, perfect. That's perfect. Thank you. And I'm glad that you jumped in, because when you jump in the future, there's a lot of people that haven't seen Alan Solomon, but now I've created this system, and Alan, you're going to have to watch the playback today for sure, because every time that you start talking, on these calls, since we're doing them on video now, everybody's going to get to see you. So you'll check you. This is a little surprise I did for you. So if you guys aren't watching,
no, Matt, we want them to come back to the call. They don't want to see me.
Right. So if you guys are not watching and you're just listening to the call and you want to get an idea of Alan Solomon, make sure you watch the replay of today's video. That's a little surprise I had in there for Alan today. But moving on, question 2. When you pass away, who will be responsible for the cost and arrangements of your funeral? Do they have enough funds to pay for this funeral? Or do you plan on... Do they have enough funds to pay for this funeral? Or do you plan on paying for your own burial expenses? So that's question 2. Question 3. Do you have any family member whom you would like to leave money to, or maybe a charity or friend? Is there anyone you would like to leave an inheritance to? So this question 3, what is that doing? That's opening the door in case they already have final expense and they've already got enough coverage, and they've got $40,000 of coverage. This opens it up to give them other reasons why they could buy another final expense policy. Maybe they want to leave something to a family member. Question 4, when you pass away, do you have any way to replace your income to help out your spouse? If not, what is your spouse going to do for extra money? This one alone is one that I use very frequently in the field. When I'm sitting down with a husband and a wife, I always talk about surviving spousal income. It's so important because so many people don't even necessarily think about it. They don't even know it's a problem. But the electric bill's not going to get, when somebody passes away, their income is gone. The surviving spouse is left with about half of the income that they were receiving before, but does the electric bill get cut in half? No. Does the mortgage or the rent get cut in half? No. They continue to have the same level of expenses or close to it. They may eat less, so their food bill, the grocery bill may go down a little bit, but the cable bill, the rent, all of those fixed expenses, they're the same. So find out what they did or what their plan is for their surviving spouse's income. Number 5, how much do you think final expenses cost today? Let them tell you what they think. They may think it's $5,000 for a funeral. Let's find out what they think it's going to cost, including burial and memorial services, etc. If you lived until you were 80 or 90, how much do you think it would cost? And that's a perfect time to pull out the sheet and show them, hey, this is what it's going to cost. This is what, based on your age currently, what your life expectancy is, and what with the cost of, with the rising cost of funerals and inflation, this is how much it's going to cost when you pass away. Question number 6. Did you know that your assets and your bank account are not immediately available upon your death? Many people think that just because they have 15 grand in their savings account, in the bank account, that's going to be available as soon as they pass away, and their kids are just going to get access to that, and they're going to be able to pay the funeral with that money that's in their savings account. Well, I don't know about every state, but Ohio, in the state of Ohio, a probate case has to be open for 9 months. So that money could be tied up for 9 months, unless it's in a trust or they've done something unique. But that could be tied up in the probate court for a long time. Do your children or family have enough money to set aside to pay for the immediate cost of final expenses while they wait for access to your assets? That was question 6 of 10. So moving on to question number 7. Are you aware that you can either pay for your insurance policy in one single payment, annual payment, or small monthly payments? Which would work best for you? And this is one thing that I did. that I do frequently, or every time that I'm writing a policy up. I don't typically do the one lump sum. We don't sell a lot of that. We do have it available, but we don't do a lot of that. I basically am looking for the people to go ahead and pay it annually. So why? Because I get paid my annual commission instead of a 9-month advance. So if they have the wherewithal, they've got the money sitting in their bank account, you might as well ask. It never hurt anybody to ask for an annualized premium. So if you guys do that, that's one way. That's one way to get the 10th, 11th, and 12th month, and it also helps secure cancellations, because they're not going to cancel the policy if it's not coming out of their bank account every month. They've already paid for it. The year's paid up. Make that available to them. Make sure you're asking that question. Question number 8. How is your health? Have you ever been turned down for life insurance? Do you take any medications? Can I see those medications? And when they get you the medications, make sure that you're writing them down and you're comparing them in your underwriting and your prescription list book to the carrier that you're working with, in the field. So each of the carriers typically have a prescription list, a list of prescriptions that if the person is taking this prescription, they're going to get declined. So don't even apply. So look at the prescriptions they're taking, know what they are, know if they're an acceptable or not acceptable prescription. You don't want somebody getting declined if it could be pushed through another carrier. So make sure you're getting their prescription. Question number 9. Who would you like to be your beneficiary? Who would you like to receive the check once you pass away? And question number 10. If you don't take out a policy for your final expenses and your burial, what is your alternative plan? That's going to get them thinking, you know what? They're going to tell you, I don't have another plan, or my plan is this. And if you know what their plan is and they're not moving forward and you know the reason, then you can have things that you can have things in your presentation binder, or you can have things in your booklet that you can show them that's going to say, no, that's not necessarily the case. A lot of people will say, my alternative plan is the VA is going to pay for it. Well, we all know, if we're carrying around the VA sheet, what the benefits are, and it's not much. A lot of people say, Social Security is going to pay. Well, Social Security only pays $255 in certain situations. So this is just a series of questions that you can ask during your presentation or as your presentation to help you get to know your prospect better. And if you know them better and you listen to their answers, these are very leading and good open-ended questions. It's going to gain you a lot of information about the people that you're sitting down with on a daily basis. Alan, do you have anything else to go over on this?
Actually, I do, Matt, and I gather a lot of information in my warm-up, but one of the strong things that I gather is I find out about the prospect's family. How many kids do you have? Are they local? Do they, if they're local, I'll say, I'll also find out if they own their own home, if one of the kids is going to take the home over, because there's expenses involved either way. I also find out if they're out of town. Do you have kids from out of town? So even if they do have kids from out of town, well, they're going to incur an expense so that they could come and support their loved one's property. So I bring that up as well, because if they already have insurance, well, there's going to be some other expenses that you probably haven't taken into account. So that's another thing that you could ask about their family. Get them talking about themselves.
Awesome. Thank you, Alan. Thanks for sharing. That's we like to keep these calls at 30 minutes or less, and today's going to be one of the days where it's actually a shorter call. We're not going to go and use up the entire 30 minutes. We want you to take this extra 10 minutes that you've saved here and pick up the phone and call some of your old leads. People that you haven't been able to get a hold of, and you just wrote those off. I know every one of you has a stack of 30, 40, 50, 80, 100, 200 leads that are just sitting there. You're not reaching out to them. Take these next 10 minutes, go through some of those old leads, call them, get yourself another appointment. Find somebody in that stack of old stuff that, find somebody that you can sell a policy to. Thanks for being on the call. Now, next week's call, we're going to go through Matt McCray's recipe for selling success. I put together, you guys know me, I go through, I make videos every week, I talk about a lot of things, but coming up next week on the call, I'm going to go through the exact recipe that I use to ensure that I'm closing the number of deals that I need to close and to make the income that I need to make. So have a great week. One other thing, to all of the mothers on the call, between now and the next call next week is going to be Mother's Day. I would like to wish every one of you a very happy Mother's Day and a great weekend coming up. But before we get to there, let's push it out. Let's push it hard this week. Let's increase our sales. Do everything that we can to have a great week. And like I said, last week was phenomenal. Let's see if we can beat it, though. Thanks again, and have a great week.
Thank you.